Websites, social media, branding, and so much more. Learn why so many are jumping on the bandwagon and what you really need to know for long-term success. This is my online toolbox providing weekly quick tips and reminders in all facets of marketing, starting with education, going through strategy, and then implementation, which is often forgotten. What we're doing is this week we've been traveling heavily to various different national shows, and we've seen a plethora of new players entering the marketplace with everything to do in the construction industry pertaining to websites, social media, branding. And the problem is, why are so many people jumping on the bandwagon, and what can you do about it right now to have a competitive advantage with this knowledge? Well, the biggest thing is the contracting industry is so far behind when it comes to marketing. Here we are in 2022, and it seems to be repetitive that from 5 and even 10 and more years ago, when we started in this industry, we already thought the industry was weak then, and we're wrong. It's still weak now, and it continues to be weak. But let us explain. Here is some public information with Home Advisor and Angie's List. We don't promote that business at all, but what we're trying to do is make a point. This is the sales for the last 4 years. And pay attention because those sales are based on contractors who are predominantly, not completely, but predominantly paying to be found in the industry. So here we are in 2017. This was way deep into the growth of my online toolbox in the industry with marketing education for contractors. But what was happening is we were already seeing an unbelievable investment, short-term investment in paid advertising to be found. And we were wrong because it grew in 2018. It continued to grow in 2019, and it continued to grow in 2020. And here we are when we were looking at the quarterly results, because the annual did not come out for this particular post. It continues on a quarter by quarter basis to just simply have more and more contractors looking to be paid to be found. And it's ludicrous because if you're a contractor, first of all, in this market, if your branding hasn't gotten out there where you're not busy in the first place, something's wrong. And if you're choosing lead generation services in order to be found, you have to realize that even if it's working temporarily, it's not helping you grow your brand independent of the lead generation service. So this, before we get into the specifics of education, you have to realize why are so many people jumping onto the bandwagon. The reason is it's easy pickings. The reality is so many contractors simply resist traditional marketing that is taking place in every other industry other than the construction industry. So all of these people pour in to get their piece of the pie. So you have to leverage that to realize it doesn't take much in order to get ahead in the first place, since the vast majority of your competitors will probably be reactive to marketing, let alone avoiding it altogether. So leverage that in this video as the key thing to know why so many people are in the game of websites for contractors, social media for contractors, branding, and almost every other permutation of topics we could say. But we want you to focus in on realizing first, in order to get ahead in marketing, you need to realize the foundation is education. The problem is there are so many people jumping into the market because they see the opportunity, so they quickly package something together, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter about the specific topic or topics, but the reality is that many of these people don't have enough experience and are not qualified to be able to teach you in the first place. But because the demand is so big, they basically just put together something, they package it really well, and then comes contractors signing up because they're really not sure which direction to go. So we just want to remind you to leverage this information to realize that many of the people that are promoting any type of form of education to contracting, especially around marketing, they have to realize marketing simply takes time. And it's years, not months of experience that allows you to say that you are qualified, let alone highly qualified. Many of these people have done marketing in some capacity for themselves, but they've never done it repetitively over an extended period of time to be able to prove that they're actually successful in whatever it is they're saying. Many of the things they say tend to be that they have never learned via mistakes. We're not talking about the successes because that's actually easy, but also not easy, but it's easier than learning from your mistakes. Mistakes take time. We all realize that in business that there's so many things we could go back in time and say, I wish I knew this, I wish I knew that. Here's the problem. When you listen to somebody when it comes to marketing, you're not going to know whether it's effective or not for many months to many years to come. So make sure that the foundation, just like a building, make sure the foundation comes from not just things that sound great, but are proven, and even ask people, what mistakes have you made? Because what have you learned from it? Because if that isn't embedded within the education, then all they're doing is packaging the same things that everybody's repeating online, but not going through experience to bring you from point A to point B. Separately, diversity allows you to deal with the variables. Too many people that are in the education market have very limited focus on their experience in the first place, and they believe that that experience, and they probably believe it rather strongly, that that experience covers all of the variables in the construction industry. Wrong. So just keep that in mind. And last is motivation. Many people motivate on these topics. As an educator, they sign up for some classes themselves on how to be a good teacher, but they're leveraging the motivation of the topic as opposed to the education of the topic. There is a difference. We like to say we combine them both, but there is a difference. So a lot of people will say you need a website, you need Facebook, you need to be on YouTube. And of course, we all agree that's like saying you want more money. But the reality is, if you're not educating people onto those specifics, you may not realize that you're just buying into hype, but you're not buying into the implementation. And keep in mind that education must lead to implementing, or why bother in the first place? A lot of these educators really don't know how to honestly get you from point A to point B to point C. There will be a hiccup. Trust me, it happens. And they need to be able to follow you through in all of those steps to be able to get you to the long-term gain opportunities of marketing. You don't want to have the teacher's passion be just like Ferris Bueller's teacher, where the topic itself becomes boring because their passion behind the topic itself was never there in the first place. They came to the market due to the financial opportunities, but not because this is what they believed in from the beginning. So, what we like to do as My Online Toolbox, just to make a point, is that this is our passion. It's been that way for many years. Just a few years ago, we were by Professional Remodeler, had a top 100 products in the industry award, and before that in 2018 and even 17 we were winning various different website, video marketing, digital marketing awards. So here we are going back 5 years ago from this particular video, just demonstrating that we were already winning awards from efforts that started more than 10 years ago in this passion of bringing contractors with the topic of more quality leads and focusing in on marketing, which encompasses websites, which encompasses social media, which encompasses branding, and literally so much more. So whether you're a remodeler, residential remodeler, or possibly a residential contractor with also a diversity in commercial construction, possibly a 10 million plus commercial only contractor, or maybe a very diversified residential remodeler and builder, or possibly just a roofer, or even a do-it-yourself website. These successes that we're talking about are not ones that have just happened in the last 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years for that matter. It's many, many years where they all started from a particular ground zero, or maybe not ground zero and just a little bit up, but they went through transitions, starting with education to then implementing, taking a step back, readjusting, and moving forward. So whether you're here's a remodeler top left-hand corner who has gone to become NAHB Remodeler of the Month, or possibly a painter, or possibly a specialty historic restoration company, or even another remodeler, bottom right, who has now gone through multiple transitions of growth. They all take education as the first foundation. So what we want to do is remind you, what's your plan? Remember, it begins with education, but choose wisely. Don't just sign up to the flavor of the day, because if that education is guiding you into a path of thinking that's not correct or it's not sustainable, you won't find out for 6 months to 1 year to 2 years from now, just like laying the wrong cement down on a building and you're waiting for it to crack years down the road. This is my online toolbox, and whether you have a website or not, we would like you to consider our basic classes or advanced classes. Why? They've been there, they're tried and true, and they're proven over a massively extended period of time. Don't take marketing for granted. Don't take the education for marketing, let alone the implementation marketing for granted, because it's the foundation for many, many years of growth success with a topic. Grow your business simply with not more leads, but more quality leads. And also, we like to remind people, with our dedication towards these topics, we have been posting religiously a weekly quick tip on education with not just hype, but fact, with real examples year by year by year. You could simply go to our Facebook page, the My Online Toolbox Facebook page, and like it there, or follow us on the My Online Toolbox YouTube channel. And never forget to start planning yesterday for next year's marketing and profits. And remember, education is the key to getting to the next step up in your marketing objectives. We hope you have a healthy week, and we will see you next week.